There will come a day when the chaos outside no longer reaches your peace within, and on that day, you'll know you've trained yourself to get unbothered. Have you ever laid in bed, your mind racing, replaying every harsh word someone said, every slight, every betrayal, every moment when someone made you feel small? You held onto it like fire in your hands, thinking maybe if you clutched it tighter, the pain would make sense. But here's the truth. Every time you react to someone's cruelty, every time your peace gets shattered by gossip, rejection, or disrespect, you give them power over your life. You weren't born to be a puppet to people's moods. You were born to be the master of your own soul. Let's be real, this world will never stop testing you. There will always be someone who misunderstands you, someone who mocks your growth, someone who tries to push your buttons, just to see if they still work. Emotional control is strength, not suppression. There is a quiet kind of strength that doesn't need to shout. It doesn't throw fists or raise its voice. It doesn't slam doors or seek revenge. It simply holds still, watches, breathes, and waits. This is the strength found in emotional control, the kind that people mistake for coldness, for indifference, for weakness. But nothing could be further from the truth. Emotional control is not about feeling less. It's about mastering the fire inside without letting it consume everything around you. We live in a world that encourages quick reactions, a society that rewards outrage, confrontation, and the loudest voice in the room. Social media has trained people to snap back, clap back, and speak before they think. To be emotionally charged is seen as being real, while emotional restraint is often labeled as being fake, detached, or robotic. But the truth is, anyone can explode. Anyone can react. It takes no training, no discipline, no awareness, but to choose how to respond. That's real strength. When you're in control of your emotions, you don't let temporary feelings create permanent damage. You don't let a few minutes of anger ruin relationships, opportunities, or your own peace of mind. You understand that emotions are visitors, not masters. They're messengers, not rulers. You can feel everything deeply up and still choose to act from a place of wisdom, not reaction. This is not suppression. Suppression is denial. Suppression is pretending you're okay when you're breaking inside. It's locking emotions in a room and throwing away the key, only to have them burst out later in unhealthy, explosive ways. Suppression is bottling everything up, thinking you're being strong, when really, you're just avoiding the work of self-awareness. Emotional control, on the other hand, is the exact opposite. It requires facing your emotions fully. It requires looking your anger in the eye and understanding where it comes from. It means welcoming your pain without letting it dictate your next move. It's giving your emotions space to be felt, but not the steering wheel. This is maturity. This is growth. This is how inner power is built. Imagine you're standing in the middle of a storm. Wind whipping, rain pounding, trees bending to the force of nature. Most people run, scream, panic. But the one who can stand in the center with calm eyes, with a steady heart, that person has trained for this moment. That's what emotional control looks like. The storm still rages, but it doesn't shake the core. One of the greatest lies we've been taught is that emotions must always be expressed outwardly or else they will destroy us. But expression without reflection is chaos. Screaming when angry, sobbing in public at every disappointment, lashing out when hurt, these are all natural, but not always necessary. Emotional control allows you to process, to reflect, and to decide how and when to express. It gives you the ability to communicate with clarity instead of confusion. Think about the people you respect most, the leaders, the mentors, the elders who've guided you with grace. Were they impulsive? Did they yell when things didn't go their way? Or did they have a quiet steadiness, a way of holding space even in conflict? Emotional control is what made them trustworthy. You knew they wouldn't blow up or break down at the first sign of trouble. You knew their strength wasn't in how loud they got, but in how still they remained. And this strength isn't just for leaders. It's for you. It's for the moments when someone insults you, and instead of reacting, you stay centered. When life disappoints you, and instead of collapsing, you adapt. When your heart breaks, and instead of turning bitter, you grow stronger in silence. To develop emotional control, You have to become your own observer. Step back and witness what's happening inside. Label the emotion. Ask yourself why it's there. Is this anger masking sadness? Is this jealousy hiding insecurity? Is this fear pretending to be logic? The more honest you are, the more power you have, because naming the emotion strips it of its unconscious control over you. Emotions are not bad. They're not something to fight against. They're signals. If you feel angry, it's a sign that something feels unjust. If you feel anxious, it may be a sign of uncertainty or fear of loss. But if you blindly obey the feeling, you become its servant. If you pause and understand it, you become its master. This mastery takes time. It takes patience. It requires failing. Often, you will have moments where you react, where you say things you regret, where your emotions get the better of you. But each time you reflect on those moments, each time you ask yourself what you could have done differently, you build strength. Emotional control is not about perfection, it's about progression. In relationships, emotional control becomes even more critical. The people closest to you will trigger your deepest emotions because they matter. But love without emotional control is volatile. You can't build trust with someone who is unpredictable. You can't feel safe with someone who flips from affection to fury in seconds. Emotional control allows love to be consistent, to grow in peace rather than in fear. Some might say that holding back is fake, that if you feel something, you should express it right away. But real life doesn't reward impulsive expression. It rewards those who can choose the right time, the right words, and the right energy. Emotional control is not lying about your feelings, it's knowing your feelings well enough to express them without doing harm. And yes, there is a cost. You won't get the instant gratification of yelling when you're hurt. You won't always get to say what you want in the heat of the moment. You'll sit in silence while others explode. You'll walk away when your ego is screaming to turn back and win the argument. But over time, you'll realize the real victory isn't in defeating others, it's in not letting them defeat your peace. This strength is especially needed in today's world. With constant news, opinions, outrage, and noise, it's easy to feel emotionally hijacked. But those who remain calm, who don't flinch at every comment or controversy, those are the ones who rise above. They lead, they inspire, they stay grounded in a world that wants to knock them off balance. You train for emotional control like you train for anything else. You start small. The next time someone cuts you off in traffic, instead of cursing, breathe. The next time you're criticized unfairly, instead of defending yourself right away, reflect. When you're overwhelmed, don't run to distraction, sit with the discomfort. It's in these little moments that the muscles of emotional discipline are built. And remember, this emotional control does not mean emotional isolation. It doesn't mean locking yourself away and becoming a stone. It means choosing your battles, choosing your words, choosing your energy, feeling everything, but not being ruled by anything. You can cry and still be strong. You can feel hurt and still be powerful. You can be afraid and still move forward. Strength is not the absence of emotion, it's the ability to feel it, hold it, and carry it with grace. You don't owe anyone access to your raw emotions. Not everyone deserves a front row seat to your inner world. Emotional control is how you protect your energy, your mind, and your heart from being tossed around by the chaos outside. It's how you stop being a victim of circumstance and start being the creator of your experience. You will be misunderstood. People will say you're distant. They'll say you don't care. They'll try to provoke you. Let them, because at the end of the day, the one who controls their emotions controls the outcome. You want peace? Control your emotions. You want power? Control your reactions. You want growth? Learn to feel, but not be led blindly by what you feel. That's the journey. That's the test. That's the strength no one can take from you. Your peace is your responsibility. There is a sacred stillness that lives inside each of us. A quiet place where the noise of the world fades, where the opinions of others lose their grip, where chaos cannot reach. That place is your peace, and no one else can give it to you. No one else can maintain it for you. No one else can protect it when the storms of life come crashing in. Your peace is your responsibility, and until you take ownership of that truth, you will forever be at the mercy of circumstances, people, and events outside your control. We often grow up believing that peace is found in the absence of problems, that it will come when everyone treats us kindly, when life goes as planned. when we finally have the job, the relationship, the money, the body, the recognition. But that kind of peace is fragile. It can be stolen with a single insult, a rejection, a failed plan, or an unexpected loss. If your peace depends on external perfection, you will live in constant fear of the moment it all falls apart. True peace is the kind that endures is born from within. It's not dependent on whether others understand you. It doesn't rise and fall with people's approval. It doesn't disappear when you're challenged. It is something you build, moment by moment, through your choices, your mindset, and your discipline. It starts when you stop waiting for the world to make you feel okay. So many people live trapped in a prison of when they apologize, I'll heal. When I get that opportunity, I'll feel valuable. When they treat me right, I'll be calm. But waiting on others to give you peace is like handing them the keys to your inner life. And often, the people you're waiting on are either unable or unwilling to give you what you need. That's not their fault, it's just not their job. Your peace cannot be outsourced. Not to your partner, not to your friends, not to your family, not to society. No one else is inside your head, inside your heart. No one else sees the thoughts you feed, the narratives you tell yourself, the battles you fight silently each day. Only you do, which means only you can take charge of what grows there. When you stop blaming others for your discomfort, you begin to take real power. When you stop thinking they made me feel this way, and start asking, why did I react this way? And you begin to grow, not because it's your fault others mistreat you, but because it's your responsibility to decide what you'll allow to take root inside your soul. Peace is not the absence of conflict, it's the ability to remain grounded in the middle of it. It's knowing that no matter what happens outside, you are in control of what happens inside. That doesn't mean you don't feel. It doesn't mean you suppress your pain. It means you meet it with presence. You sit with it instead of running from it. You listen to it instead of lashing out. You work through it instead of burying it. Taking responsibility for your peace means refusing to be a victim of everything that happens around you. It means not letting every rude comment, every failure, every disappointment take you down. It means recognizing your triggers and doing the work to disarm them. It means protecting your boundaries, saying no when you need to, and walking away from people and environments that threaten your peace, not because they're evil, but because your well-being is not negotiable. No one is coming to rescue you from your own mind. No one is coming to calm the storms that rage within. That is your work, and it is sacred. There's a kind of freedom that comes when you finally stop needing others to change for you to be okay. When you stop needing closure from the person who hurt you. When you stop needing justice before you release your resentment. When you stop needing validation before you feel worthy. In those moments, you begin to reclaim your peace, not because life got easier, but because you got stronger. Sometimes that strength looks like silence, not the silence of fear, but the silence of self-control. Sometimes it looks like walking away, and not in anger, but in clarity. Sometimes it looks like forgiving someone who never said sorry, and not for them, but for your own freedom. Sometimes it looks like staying home, shutting off the noise, and listening to what your soul needs. You are the gatekeeper of your mind. If you let everything in, don't be surprised when peace walks out. You cannot be at peace if you consume negativity all day. If you surround yourself with chaos. If you dwell on what could have been. If you keep replaying the past like a broken record. Taking responsibility for your peace means being intentional about what you let influence your spirit. It means choosing your battles. Not everything needs a reaction. Not everyone deserves an explanation. Not every conflict needs resolution. Sometimes, peace is more important than being right, more important than being understood, more important than winning. Taking responsibility for your peace also means facing your own shadows. The things you blame others for, how much of it is yours to heal? The stories you tell about why you can't be happy, how many of them are excuses rooted in fear? How often do you sabotage your own peace by holding on to things you should have let go of long ago? This is not easy work. It's not glamorous. It's not always visible, but it's real. It's the kind of strength that doesn't get applause. No one may notice when you bite your tongue instead of arguing, when you choose compassion over judgment, when you decide not to let anxiety dictate your day. But you'll notice. You'll feel it. You'll begin to carry a stillness within you that nothing and no one can touch. You'll realize that even when things go wrong, you can remain calm. That even when people are cruel, You don't have to mirror them. That even when life is uncertain, you can stay anchored. That's not something anyone else can give you. That's something you build by showing up for yourself again and again. Your peace is your responsibility, because no one else can feel your suffering, no one else can live your life, and no one else will bear the consequences of your reactions the way you will. Which means no one else should have the power to dictate how you feel. This doesn't mean closing off. It doesn't mean isolating or pretending you don't care. It means knowing where your center is, and returning to it, no matter what's happening around you. It means creating habits that support your peace, daily quiet time, healthy relationships, honest reflection, strong boundaries, kind self-talk. These are the bricks with which you build an inner sanctuary. Sometimes, that sanctuary will be tested. You'll face loss, rejection, failure, heartbreak. You'll be tempted to fall back into old habits of blaming, lashing out, shutting down. But if you've done the work, you'll know that your peace doesn't live in the hands of what happens, it lives in the hands of what you choose. And you'll start to see that the more you take responsibility for your peace, the more peaceful your world becomes. Not because life changes, but because you change. You'll stop arguing with reality. You'll stop demanding people be different. You'll stop attaching your joy to things you can't control. And in that surrender, you'll find strength, not the kind that shouts, but the kind that endures. This is how you rise, not through noise, but through silence, not through rage, but through stillness, not through control of others, but through mastery of self. Peace is not a gift the world owes you, it's a discipline you owe yourself. It doesn't happen all at once, it's built, layer by layer, decision by decision. It's the choice to not respond to provocation, the choice to forgive when it's easier to resent, the choice to breathe when you want to break down, the choice to rest when you want to run, the choice to protect your spirit like it matters, so because it does. You are not weak for wanting peace. You are not Nitel de Macranvi for choosing calm over chaos. You are not passive for walking away from drama. These are acts of courage in a world that thrives on noise. And one day, you'll realize the most powerful thing you ever did was take your peace into your own hands. Not because everything went right, but because you learned to stay right within yourself regardless of everything else. Let go of the need to be understood. You won't be everyone's favorite. You don't need to be. The ones who truly see you won't make you chase their approval. Practice detachment. Care deeply, but don't cling. Love fully, but don't lose yourself. Show up, but don't burn out. Let go without resentment. Embrace solitude. Peace is built in the quiet moments. Disconnect. Walk alone. Sit in silence. In solitude, the noise of the world fades and your strength emerges. You walk lighter. You think clearer. You attract peace. You repel drama. You begin to live from the inside out and not the outside in. People may not understand you. That's okay. They'll call you cold, emotionless, arrogant. Let them. You don't need to explain your peace to anyone who profits from your chaos. You are no longer here to entertain disrespect. You're here to rise. You're not weak for walking away. You're strong for not needing to fight every battle. You're not emotionless for choosing calm. You're wise for not giving energy to what doesn't serve you. Train yourself to get unbothered, and not because the world will stop trying you, but because you've outgrown the version of you that breaks every time it does. Let them talk. Let them leave. Let them misunderstand. And in the silence that follows, listen to the voice inside you that whispers, I am at peace, and not because they changed, but because I did. Now go out there, not to prove anyone wrong, but to prove to yourself that peace is possible, even in the loudest storm. Train yourself to get unbothered, and you'll become unstoppable.